You guys don't want to miss this one. This student totally destroys this woke school for excluding him just because he's white. Have a look.
Hi, my name is Brad Taylor, and I just finished my freshman year at RHS. I've been a part of District 196 schools now for 10 years, and I'm going to give you a glimpse today of what's actually going on inside these schools. Despite the board's attempt to deny it, District 196 schools are quickly becoming a place where promoting activism is actually more important than promoting education. I'll take you back to my first day at RHS this fall. The principal came out and gave us a heartfelt speech about equality and standing together. He began to list countless races, such as Latino, Asian, expressing how much they matter and how important they are. But never once did he mention a race or identity that reflects me, or half the kids that were in the class. Now, members of the board, I know you haven't been to school in a while, and I know none of you, or most of you, don't have any kids left in the school district. But you must admit how uncomfortable it will be to be characterized just by your skin color on the first day of school, and be thought that you were wrong just because of your skin color. So I'll never forget the look one of my friends gave me from across the room as we were sitting there listening to this blatant bias being expressed in the so-called equity statement by the leader of our school. To be clear, I don't need you to tell me that I matter, but hearing the condolences given to other races and leaving just one race out, inevitably you'll start to feel like you've done something wrong. And in our principal's attempt to unify us, he instead created unwarranted boundaries and barriers between his students, pitting us against each other based on characteristics that we can't control. In another separate instance, I was told that writing "All Lives Matter" on the whiteboard was political and could be seen as offensive. When I questioned the teacher after class, she told me that she didn't have an answer and she just had to erase it, and it was quickly erased. There are political signs all over RHS, about specific races that matter, specific sexual orientations that matter, and specific perspectives that matter. But when I questioned the RHS administration about how these signs were political, they told me that they were supporting human rights. So when I questioned why the equity statement couldn't represent all students, they told me that to even ask that question was outlandish and offensive. And when I asked why that was, they told me, quote, "Whites have a pretty good situation right now," unquote. So is that not racism? Disregarding my question merely because of the color of my skin? To be honest, after enduring a year of the people in charge telling me that I'm a racist and I'm privileged and pointing out our irreversible differences, I've never noticed race more. And it's becoming the first thing I notice when I meet someone, which has never before been the case. RHS administration confidently told me that RHS students and staff are happy with their equity statement. But from my experience in talking with other students, this is not the case. I know many kids who disagree with their teachers, but they're too scared to stand up because they're worried that their grades will be docked and their learning experience will be affected. My honors government teacher, I'm not going to say his name, but he's mentioned that Democrats care more about all people while Republicans only care about themselves. And he's also inferred to us that socialism is better than democracy. He even had a statue of a socialist leader in his classroom. I've been told by a lot of kids that they just stay silent and adjust their schoolwork to reflect an acceptable opinion to secure a good grade. I've been approached by multiple teachers who have told me in private that they just want to say that they agree with me and they support me standing up, but they can't say it in front of the class for fear of being disciplined by the administration in some way or losing their jobs. There is clearly only one way to think in this district, and that is that they are teaching their kids to shut up if they don't agree. Now, members of the board, I want you to take a good look at yourselves in the mirror tonight and ask, are you really standing up for the equality of all people, or are you just pushing a damaging political ideology on our students? A fellow coworker at my job, who by the way is of color, discreetly told me that the schools seem to be pushing a very leftist agenda in class. This proved that not everyone is happy with your school, and not everyone who isn't happy is white. Now, due to all these instances I've mentioned and many more that I can't fit in this 5-minute speech, I've decided to leave this district and continue school on a private Christian school online. And there will be sacrifices, and I will not get to walk in the graduation ceremony or attend milestones at RHS, but I will be able to learn in an environment that is not intent on punishing me daily for my skin color and political views. Now, regardless of how you take my speech, whether you just shrug it off as malarkey or Fox News talking points, I encourage you to think about it, because someday I'm going to be a leader. I may be the president, a governor, or just a professional golfer, But I will never stop believing that everybody has value, no matter their skin color or personal beliefs. And it's a shame that you're not going to be able to say that I was an alumni of RHS in District 196. Thank you.
This kid was so awesome. I mean, I got goosebumps toward the end of his speech when he says that he will continue to believe that everyone has value, regardless of the color of their skin or their personal beliefs. I mean, that speech was amazing, and good for him for having so much support around him that enabled him to feel confident to just stand there and read his speech in front of the school board, who are so woke. I mean, if you think about it, DEI, or woke schools who promote DEI, they're actually just trying to keep racism alive. If you look at the definition DEI, it says it's an organization, like an organizational framework, they say, that seek to promote the fair treatment and the full participation of all people. So it's saying of all people. They should just stop right there. And if they did in that definition, it would clearly support that is supporting everyone. And we're not looking at skin color. We're not looking at personal beliefs, right? But no, DEI definition goes further than that, which the last part of the definition truly makes it racist. And it goes on to say that it focuses on particular groups who have historically been underrepresented or subject to discrimination because of their skin color or their disability. So if you really think of that definition, that last part of that definition, that's the part that makes DEI more about racism and keeping racism alive. This kid, or even high school kids, think about it. The first day of school, the first day of high school, you're sitting in that auditorium. You're excited to just get started, nervous to get started, not sure how people are going to be acting and your peers, and are you going to get along, and just all that stuff is going through your head. And here this dean has a speech like that that's really honing in and making white people feel like this small. He's playing into the vulnerability that these kids have at that young age, at that age where they're just trying to figure out where they are in this world. It's almost like liberals who are very woke and support DEI. They're trying to groom more minds to keep and stay racist. It's the adults in the room who are woke and who are supporting the need for racism, for whatever reason. I mean, even when I say that, I'm like, why is there even a need for racism, right? It's almost like that racism will never stop in our country because our adults are keeping it alive by just feeding this into our children so that our children don't look at each other. I loved it when the kid said in the speech that I just looked at my peers as my peers. I never looked at them because they had a skin color until my schools started to really embed it into our minds that this person's white, this person's black, this person's brown. So what? Our kids are smarter than that. Some aren't, though, in the sense that they don't know what's really going on and how their minds are being just manipulated and indoctrinated to really be racist and divisive with each other. And it's just so sad. We've got to put a stop to this. This dean, and not just him, like all deans, are playing into the vulnerability of our children. And if we don't get DI out of our schools and go back to what this kid said, that all people have value, regardless of the identity of their skin or their values. If we don't go back to that, because that's the way we were, that's the way it was when I was growing up, then we're just going to continue to see and just hear racism grow in our country.